For the past few weeks, I have been riding around strip mines in central Alabama in search of what is left of the old Kellerman Railroad that hauled coal out of the old ghost town of Kellerman, Alabama. Come along with me today and I'll show you what I found. Up until this trip, I had found several exposed railbed portions further north, but I had been unable to get down into the valley where the tunnels and the railbed still exist beside Daniel Creek. But using contour maps, the old contour maps, I found a way down into the valley to access the railbed. Now, it's taken me a few weeks to find my way down into Daniel Creek in this valley because it's so sheer and so straight. And not just that, I knew that there was access, but a lot of this land has been fenced off and posted, and there is very definitely one way in by the river, but that requires you to go through the really deep tunnel. The first tunnel right by the river that goes up Daniel Creek is pretty deep, and it's got some scary rocks in the bottom of it. Big squared off rocks that could put you over the handlebars, and the rocks that are in there that are relatively flat are very slippery, and it's kind of scary, and I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to lose my bike, so that's kept me out of that tunnel for now. But I will get to tunnel number one either from the north side or the south side. But the big trick up till now has been trying to find a way in that does not require me to go around a fence, and I finally found it this day, and I was pretty excited to get down into Daniel Creek. And this was the first time I've been down in Daniel Creek since the 80s, and this is another culvert here that I had to cross with a nice little lake behind it. Reminds me almost exactly the same structure, the same culvert as I found the other day on the northern section. A little bit more grown up in the other section. It's kind of scary looking down. These little water-covered concrete culverts like this are really slick in the bottom, so I had to actually give this one some thought because he didn't really want to steer or give it any throttle. Basically just kind of cross it like it's ice, because some of these moss-covered places are very slick, just like ice. And as I was climbing back up the hill here, I had a few choices, but I was hoping to actually go down. I figured at some point this trail, this old road here, went down towards the creek. And first time in years, first time I've been down in here since the 80s. As a young man, I rode my dual sport up here from Tuscaloosa, just probably 20 minutes away. But we had lots of fun down in here back in the day until they locked everything down. Started posting all the property to keep people out. I'm guessing probably because either they were doing damage or dumping trash or, being rednecks. And so it cut off a wonderful place to ride motorcycles, four-wheelers, 4x4s, all kinds of stuff down here. And I'm crawling down this really slick clay portion right here. It's a lot steeper than it looks, but not just that, it's really slick and wet, and you can get in a lot of trouble going down some of these hills. I'm much more cautious going down the hills than I am going up, just because if you're going up and you get into trouble, typically you can let off the throttle and stop moving. If you're going down, you can't do that. A lot of times you get in trouble and you start picking up speed, and then the speed just increases as you get down closer to the bottom. And here I am, I'm just now starting to realize here that I am on the railbed. I finally found the railbed, and I look over here to the right and I can see the creek, so I know I'm in the right place. Even though I'm not seeing anything like railroad ties or anything like that. Just a few 100 feet up, I run into the first cut that I've seen in many, many years. And I started getting excited. My pulse started going up, and I knew I was in the right place. And when I across the next creek and saw the cut coming up. It just, all the memories started flooding back when I was a young man. And here's the first cut, and it's a cut in the rock. It's basically the same thing you see on highways and interstates where they want to go through a mountain, but they don't want to make a tunnel. And there's several cuts on this. I think there's just as many cuts as there are tunnels. I think there's 3 or 4, maybe even 5 cuts like this. And same thing, deep puddles here with slick rocks and squared off rocks that'll put you over the handlebars. Really good riding in here for four-wheelers. It's kind of scary on a motorcycle, just because you never know what's underneath the water and you never know how slick it's going to be. I found it. This is the trail I almost came down, but I could tell that this is to me, this doesn't even look like the worst part. This thing is gnarly looking right here, but further up around the corner I could see that the road was stepping down like walls of 2 and 3 foot, and I don't like big steps. I don't do very well on them, and I can't really afford to get my bike messed up or my body messed up. So yeah, so I decided to go this way, but this is not what I found. I think this is the way I used to come down back in the 80s, but I have found the rail bed. This is the rail bed. This is the old rail bed here. This is one of several cuts. I think there's like 3 or 4 cuts on here. Not tunnels, but cuts. So in other words, the rock, the hill was not big enough to cut a tunnel through it. So they just cut the rock straight out. Or maybe they started cutting through and realized that the top collapsed. I don't know. But I'm really glad I didn't come down this. But more importantly, I'm down to the creek. I'm going to walk down this creek here and see if there's anything else interesting. It's a little bit wet today. It's really greasy. I may have a trouble getting back up this road here because there's one real greasy clay spot that's on a dip, and I may struggle getting up that. So I'm not sure that I want to do a lot of riding today. My goal today was to get down to the river. I'm sorry, the creek. It sure does look like a river. So back in the 80s, I used to ride this creek, and I would go through these tunnels, go through a tunnel, down where the trestle used to be, cross the creek, just ride right across the creek, up the other side, up another hillside into the next tunnel, and there was 3 of them pretty close together, and one of them apparently stays submerged. I remember that one, and there's a bunch of big rocks in the middle of it, and it's kind of hard to keep your bike upright. I will have to come down on a day that I'm better prepared. I didn't bring any water today because I had a very simple goal. I wanted to get down to the river or the creek, and I have accomplished my goal, and I'm very excited about that. So I'm not only that, but I'm on the rail bed, which I never thought a rail bed would get me so excited as it does nowadays. But you know, I just turned into a railroad guy just out of nowhere. I'm not riding through that. That's, if you can't tell, that is at least 2 feet deep where you can see 2 feet deep to the bottom. That means that sandy bottom, all this stuff is sand. There may be a way over here, but that I could see that is 2 feet deep right there. So I'm almost to my air box and my pipe right there, and I'm probably not going to be able to put my foot down in case I stall it. So I'm going swimming in a creek this deep. But not just that, on a drier day I can get further down the rail bed, I think, and cross in a place like this where it's, you know, a foot or 2 deep, sandy, gravelly bottom. The crossings, well, from what I remember, are very sandy, gravelly, you know, firmish. Not like this. This is like a bed of sand. That's kind of scary. You can get stuck in there, you can spill the bike, and the water's up too damn high. So I was not planning on even going down this far. I was hoping just to get to the creek. I wanted to find a way to get to the bottom, get to the creek, and come back at some time when it hasn't been raining. And that's still my plan today. What I want to do in addition, though, is do a little bit more exploring, see if I can see where I can get to on foot, and see if I can find anything left of the rail bed besides just the bed itself. I'm hoping to find maybe some well, geez, the place I need to go is upstream. Let me see how far this thing goes. So I'm guessing big trestle right here. It's coming out of this, probably went across. Yeah. So I imagine if I was looking for trestles, oh, looky there. Is that a big square beam? Oh, looky there. Found me a trestle. Goody, goody, goody. Like a child. I'm acting like a child in a toy store. How dare me. Oh, yes. Looky here. Oh, yes. Well, I hope some of you train guys are getting a kick out of this, because I hate to think that I'm boring the crap out of all my motorcycle folks, because I think that's a majority of my audience is motorcycle folks. Any train folks are recent additions. So I'm guessing it went kind of hard to tell what's left. Should I crawl up on top of that, or should I just do a victory lap? We know the rail is going to be gone. Just what do we know about the rest of it? Let's crawl up here just a short ways, just make sure there's nothing extraordinary. So, speaking of my train guys, well, that's a nice platform right there. So that's a tie right there, going all the way across. A little bit of 19th century, early 19th century iron there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is definitely worth the climb up here. I'm just so excited about the rail bed itself. I'd kind of forgotten about the trestles. It's kind of hard to see where it goes in unless it goes up. The other side didn't seem anything visible. So yeah, looks like it just went straight through those trees right there. So yeah, just came straight through here. Boom, boom, hit that ramp and jumped to the other side. So I was making reference to my audience, but I think that's important. If I don't think I've got more than a handful of train guys that are watching this channel, but if you're a train guy, if you understand history, if you understand the way things used to be back in the steam era or coal mining or anything like that, please chime in and let me know that you're watching, because I may need your help. I don't know what to be looking for out here besides railroad ties and foundations, and the rail's all gone, but as you can see, there's still a few bolts left, but I don't know what else to look for. I don't know what's missing. I don't know what may have fallen down and got covered up by leaves, and just a little bit of probing we might be able to find it. So if you're a train guy, if you're a amateur archaeologist like me, maybe you know something that I don't. So drop a comment below and let me know
if you know something that I don't, or give me some advice, or anything except take your vitamin C and wash your hands. I'm willing to listen to anybody that has information about what I'm looking for out here. Check this out. So they blew off this rock, this old sandstone, and somebody came in here and moved this crap. And I'm just thinking the technology that did that in the early 1900s, this may be 1903. I think that's what I remember, the rail coming through here, 1903. So, I mean, is this just an example of what happens when the rock explodes and you come through here with a train and push it out of there? I don't know how they moved that rock back then. So how about that creek? Hey, if you like this creek, if you like the bed, how about a thumbs up? Hey, if you like what I'm doing today, you can help me out by sharing. Click the share button, copy the link, send it to your friends, put it on Facebook, put it in an email, put it in a text, get your friends that might be interested in some of this history to come check it out. And the biggest thing, besides sharing, is hitting that subscribe button. It's just something that's so easy. You click a button. And if you want to see every video I put out, YouTube might not help with that. So the only way to help with that is hit that bell, the notification bell, so you can get an update every time I put out a video. But, I mean, none of this is possible without people watching. You know, I would probably do it with 10, 15 people watching. I just would not do it as frequently. I would not be as interested if people didn't occasionally go, hey, that's cool, man. Keep doing that. I mean, that's kind of, we're all humans. We all react to our environment. And my environment, creating stuff, is this stuff. There's a reward in this, inherent reward, and I'd probably be doing this anyway. But pulling this damn camera out every time I get off the bike, I would be doing a whole lot less, because I would just be sharing it with the people that I know. And I would be sharing it with the people that I care about. I don't know you guys. Not until you comment. I get to know you when you comment. I get to know you when you have something to say. You know, and I don't need constant reinforcement, but an occasional comment from somebody new. Hey, I just subscribed. Good job. I like what you're doing. Keep going. Man, keep going. There's nothing better. I've been getting a few of those lately, and those have made the most impression. Keep going, Don. Are you kidding me? Yes, I'll keep going. Yes, I will. Right now, I'm going to keep going down that creek, going back in the way I came. I'm going to wait for the floodwaters to recede. And I'm not going up that unless I have somebody to go for help. See you at the top.
Now, I'm sure a few of you will look at these tiny little puddles and say, man, why is that guy not riding through that on the back wheel, just hauling ass? And I would say, if you don't know, look closely at these puddles. You will see some squared off blocks. You'll see slanted rock that are extremely slippery. And I love riding through these creeks. Like, this is a perfect creek to ride through because you can see to the bottom. You can see there's no real blocks. There's actually a block right there in the middle. But just imagine if the creek wasn't clear and you rode into that, you'd go over the handlebars and break something. And I've got to be really careful with things like that. Riding by yourself is really dangerous, especially riding in places like this. In this valley, there is absolutely no cell signal, no nothing. And walking out with a broken bike or having to push the bike is one thing, but broken ankle, dislocated knee, all those things might cause the end of your life. I just got through reading a story about a guy out west that was riding by himself. I think he was younger than me, and they found his body Couldn't find anything wrong with this bike. They haven't done an autopsy yet, but you know, things like this really get my attention. The older I get, the more crashing that I do at my age, the more it becomes a real issue. Mostly riding by yourself. I'll act like a complete idiot as long as there's somebody that's riding with me, you know, to see where, at least retrieve my body. It's not, to me, it's not as much of a fear of breaking stuff, bike or body, but more of a issue of that long, slow, painful death, dying of dehydration or blood loss, slowly withering away in the middle of the woods, you know, maybe just a few miles from civilization. In this case, it's probably not 10 miles to the main road, but getting there with a broken ankle or broken leg or anything that prevents you from walking, it's kind of scary. I am coming up here on what turns out looks like the old water tank, and I didn't know it at the time, but looking at it on the map on the way back, or after I got back, you could see clearly that what looks like the platform, it looks like a platform. I didn't see any platform while I was out there, but oddly, it looks like in the same space as what is a new water tank. I don't think it replaced the old water tank, but just shocking. There it is, the right there on the left, that green tank. I know that I'm quite certain that didn't have anything to do with the railroad, but I think this is the location of the platform, at least, where the old water tank sat. I'll go back down there sometime in the future and take more pictures. And this looks like another creek crossing here. I'm sure there was a trestle here. And this one was probably low enough too to cross. I didn't want to take the risk. And hopefully the creek will go down. I know it's going to go down further into the summer, but hopefully within the next few days I'll be able to get back down the creek, take some more detailed pictures, see how far up this rail bed goes, and I'm really excited about seeing the rest. Hopefully next time I will get to at least 2 of the tunnels. One should be accessible. The number 1 tunnel should be accessible. It's just how deep underwater is it? The last time I rode through there in the 80s, it was probably 2 or 3 feet deep. And very big square rocks, very slanted rocks, another thing that's dangerous. But I could probably get in there and walk through it, you know, without the bike pretty easily. I am gonna get to that tunnel. Hopefully I'll get to number 2 and number 3 tunnels. They're just simply amazing, and there's probably nothing better image-wise and fun-wise, being able to ride through those creeks, up the side of the hill, and through those tunnels. It's just an epic ride, and I've been looking forward to this for several years now. And it just so turns out that it's right in dead center in the middle of my journey to document this old railroad that's no longer there. And hopefully they'll be coming up really soon, and I hope that you've enjoyed this trip so far, and I hope to see you on the next adventure very soon. See you then.